All right, y'all, welcome to the GI Justin channel. I hope y'all are having an awesome day and a new week. I know it's a beautiful day here. So, we've had a whole lot of really bad news lately about a whole bunch of stuff that's going really, really wrong. So today, I got something for you. We're going to turn it around 360 degrees. I heard somebody say that once. Not true. We're going to do a 180 on bad stuff and talk about something fun today because I've had a couple people ask me about this and ask me about my background, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background, and then we're going to get into what I want to talk to you about today that's kind of fun and exciting. So, I have about 3,500 hours in helicopters flying both with the hospital and flying for the military, both in the civilian and the military world, flying CH-47 Chinooks, which is, in my opinion, the best helicopter in the entire Army. Everybody who's been around one knows it's true. And as part of that, I deployed to Afghanistan, spent a bunch of time flying, and pretty good amount of flight time and enjoyed my career. So, brief synopsis there to say here's what we're going to talk about today. Today, we are going to talk about something that everybody who has a specialized job does all the time. Analyze movies. So if you are a doctor, you watch doctor shows and get pissed off when they do stuff wrong. If you're a fireman, you get pissed off watching fireman shows and watching Backdraft and watching them do stuff they're not supposed to do. Today, I'm going to tell you about Army movies and helicopter movies and how they get helicopter stuff right and how they get helicopter stuff wrong. So, feel free to comment under here if you agree with me, don't agree with me, and at the same time, if there's a helicopter movie you want to know about, ask me about it, and in the comments, I will talk all about it and tell you what I think about the movie, whether or not it's crap or not. So, going to start off with a movie that, in my opinion, gets it pretty darn right. Black Hawk Down. So if you haven't seen Black Hawk Down is a story about a Black Hawk that was shot down in Mogadishu during our special operations aviation use of Black Hawk helicopters during the war in Somalia in the early 90s. Movie does an awesome job of both using terminology that we use in concert with showing actual video from the shoot down along with some really good acting. So Black Hawk Down, I mean, what can you say about it other than it's just a gritty movie? You know, they do a really, really nice job of both tactical use of the aircraft, showing how they actually would have operated during the day. Because that's one of the things that is a little unusual for us, is especially with that particular unit and mine, operating during the day in a combat environment is not something we prefer to do because we have a technological advantage at night. Most of the people we fight can't see in the dark the way we can with night vision goggles and some of the systems that we have. So we prefer to just catch them while they're sleeping. So Black Hawk Down gets an 8 out of 10 from me for both violence, grittiness, and great videography when it comes to the helicopters. So Black Hawk Down, if you haven't seen it, good helicopter movie. Up next, just a Mel Gibson classic. Great use of the UH-1. Great use showing how it was utilized in Vietnam in combat, and that is We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, which tells the story of the first air mobile use of helicopters in combat, where we decided, hey, why are we going to stay fixed and use trucks when we can fly our troops around, leap in, cause a big ruckus, get back on the helicopters, and get out. The thing that's awesome about this movie when it comes to showing off the Huey is they really do a great job of making the Huey a character in the movie and not just you see it for 10 seconds and then it's gone. They do a great job of showing how, for the air mobile idea of depositing troops in a combat zone, the Huey was so crucial in giving them support with rockets and guns and all kinds of cool attack stuff, but also crucial in terms of getting out the wounded and bringing in supplies like water and food and, most crucially, more ammo. So, We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, also an 8 out of 10. Highly recommended. Next, we're going to move into a massive, massive pile of crap. San Andreas with Dwayne Johnson. Man, Rock, I get that you're known to make movies that are big blockbusters. This one ain't it. So, there are autopilot functions that exist in helicopters, but a helicopter being able, especially a twin Huey, being able to control itself and stay in a hover and just hold what it's got while everything around it, including buildings, are falling apart, through the helicopter. Not so much. You know, at least try to make it look realistic, man. These helicopters are really good, but that is just total madness. So, San Andreas with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, big zero, not good. Next movie, usually if I'm going to talk about a movie that has Nicolas Cage in it, I'm going to say good things. Not going to lie, Nick Cage can do some good stuff, especially back when he was in his prime. Uh, so this movie, if you haven't seen it, is kind of a cult classic in the U.S. Army and for a lot of funny ways. So this movie is called Firebirds, and it stars Tommy Lee Jones, Nicolas Cage, and Sean Young. And basically what it is about is they tried to make a movie like Top Gun, but the Army being the Army, it's a classic, all right. A lot of interesting, really bad lines. At one point, he gets in his simulator and starts chanting, "I am the greatest," while he kills these fictitious targets on a 1990s simulator, which the reason the rest of us love it is the Apache community will never live that movie down. It is so stinking cheesy. I love it, which is why the cheesiest helicopter movie that allows us to make more fun of our fellow airframe pilots gets a 10 out of 10 from me. If you have not seen Firebirds, get you some popcorn, enjoy the cheesiness. It is spectacular. Great movie. So up next, we've got a movie called Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder came out in the 80s. Roy Scheider, right off, fresh from Jaws. Blue Thunder, super cool. It's got a French helicopter called the Alouette. And what they did is take a helicopter that doesn't look fancy and make it look super cool for television. Even though Alouette is not the best helicopter ever. But basically, it's a movie about him stealing this top secret government helicopter. And it's one of those another ones where you have to ignore reality because he is a Astro Division helicopter pilot for the Sheriff's Department of Los Angeles. Why the U.S. military would be taking a top secret helicopter and allowing it to be put through its paces by a Los Angeles County Sheriff helicopter pilot, no idea. But he steals it. And the entire movie's about his shenanigans of flying around and incriminating people and making it look cool and doing neat stuff with it. So 5 out of 10, not an epic helicopter movie that you have to watch, but it is entertaining. And I'm 99% sure it's on Hulu as we speak. So there's that. Next one is a movie with Mark Wahlberg that is, in my community, very, very well known. It's a movie called Lone Survivor. And it takes place in Afghanistan, and it's about him and his team of Navy SEALs that go to do reconnaissance of a Taliban warlord who is terrorizing the same portion of country that I did my tour in Afghanistan in. And over the course of this movie, they're found out by the Taliban, and his team is attacked by a significantly larger force of Taliban. And over the process of that, a QRF, which is a quick response force, quick reaction force, depending on where you live, where you're from, what time, is launched in 2 Chinooks to go rescue these SEALs, and it is a helicopter full of Navy SEALs. Unfortunately, when they get to where these SEALs are located, a RPG shoots down one of the Chinooks. It's tough to watch as a Chinook pilot, but I will give this movie a 9 out of 10 when it comes to the helicopter action, because despite as painful as it is to watch, as the Chinooks are being shot down, the pilots that they have in the movie actually execute the emergency procedure correctly. Unfortunately, there is no emergency procedure for what they encountered, which is what resulted in the tragic deaths of everyone on the aircraft. But in terms of looking at it from a tactical standpoint, the people that they had for this movie got it right when they did the emergency procedure for this. And that is something really, really authentic that I really like to see, and pays tribute to the aviators that were flying those aircraft, because I guarantee you that's exactly what they did. Also, just a really, really good action movie that tells an amazing story of how one man was able to survive and persevere through horrific consequences. So, Lone Survivor, 9 out of 10. Quality film, very interesting to watch. I really like it. We're going to do 2 more. So like I said, if I forget one, go ahead and throw it in the comments, and I'll talk about it too, because odds are I've probably seen it. Next one is 12 Strong, that has Chris Hemsworth in it. It's about ODA teams going into Afghanistan at the beginning of the Afghanistan war. So pretty good movie when it comes to everything going on with the Chinooks and the helicopters in the movie. Not so good in reality. In the beginning of the movie, they're riding into Afghanistan on a helicopter, on a Chinook, And they're talking about hypoxia, which is a condition where your brain does not have enough oxygen in it. That's not something we do. You know, one of the telltale signs of hypoxia is euphoria. And there's a whole lot of other stages in hypoxia. None of them are good. And if you don't do something about it flying at those altitudes, it leads up to everything, including death. And the guys on this helicopter are joking about it, talking about how they're getting funny and giggling and almost passing out. I'm here to tell you, as aviators, one of the things we take most seriously is not allowing hypoxia to happen, because it can lend itself to some really bad outcomes, especially when you're flying through the Hindu Kush mountains of Afghanistan in a thunderstorm. So the Chinooks look really cool. That's a positive. They included Chinooks, which is the right choice, but I give it a 4 out of 10. Not great. They put Chris Hemsworth up on comms where he can talk to the pilots. That is something that we do, but he doesn't get, you really don't see a ground force commander telling the pilots what they need to do. They're pretty much aware that we are subject matter experts and good at what we do. That's why we're the pilots. So they pretty much will ask questions and ask for recommendations from us how they can better execute their missions. But it's pretty rare that they make demands of the pilots. And when they do, that's not met very well because the government trusts us and gives us ultimate charge and command over that aircraft to make the decisions to safely operate that aircraft and get everybody home safely and with all the limbs they left with. So yeah, not the best movie. Still a good movie, just not great for the aviation. So final movie we're going to talk about. I'm going to lead off and say this. If you have watched this scene of this iconic movie and not wanted to be a helicopter pilot, we can't be friends. We just can't. So this movie is Apocalypse Now, which is a 20. I give it double the normal perfect score because the scene of them taking off and flying this massive gaggle of Hueys and OH-6s and all these helicopters, let alone flying a PBR boat, a patrol boat, underneath one of them to go attack the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese and get this boat inserted into the water so they can continue their mission is epic. They're playing Ride of the Valkyries by Wagner. Like, let's get it. I mean, it was an epic film, shot very well. Not to mention Arlie Ermy, who is the drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket, actually gets to sit in as one of the helicopter pilots. But as far as their diving fire, their movement of continuing to fly while making their attacks, the way they get they're called slicks. They're basically the troop-carrying Hueys, get the troops into the LZs and then depart the area. Really good. Not that far from the way we actually would have executed it back then. So pretty darn decent job. So Francis Ford Coppola, or was it Oliver Stone? Francis Ford Coppola, I think. 20 out of 10, sir. You have made the best scene in the history of helicopter movies. So I hope this brightened you guys up a little bit. I wanted to do something that was kind of fun and a little different from where we've been kind of recently with all the news with Ukraine and China, the debt ceiling that still isn't worked out. So if you disagree with me on some of these, if you think some of these movies are better than I say, throw it in the comments. And while you're at it, down here is going to be another little helicopter. It's mine. Push that button and hit subscribe on that. Join the channel where we can have more debates about the best movies of all time. We'll do this again with some other stuff on another day when I think we need to have a good fun talk. But thank you guys so much for watching and have an awesome day.